Today we're going to show you how to properly install the King cable heat system for tile and stone floors over a joist and plywood floor in less time than you can imagine using Ardex Liquid BackerBoard. This system gives you a quality in-floor heating installation that encapsulates the wire and gives you a perfect base for installing even large format tiles. If your floor meets the TCNA requirements for a ceramic tile floor using an approved BackerBoard, you can use this method. Measure the area you want to heat and order a cable system no larger than that area. You can usually go up to 10% less than the whole room because you won't walk on the edges of your floor and you don't want any excess cable. Please note, in some areas, only a licensed electrician is allowed to run the cable. Check with the building department in your area to find out your local regulations. The first thing you want to do is to decide where you want to place the thermostat. Pick a place that will be convenient to use and easily accessible to electricity. It is best to stay on an inside wall, away from any windows. We will need a dedicated circuit for the heat. Smaller cable kits are usually 120 volt and cover up to 100 square feet. And cable kits over 100 square feet are usually 240 volt and can be controlled by one thermostat. A certified electrician should install the electrical box and run power to it. At the floor, we will need 2 holes in the sill plate, one for the sensor and one for the heating cable. If the walls are open, you drill a 3/4 inch vertical hole 1.5 inches deep and then a 3/4 inch horizontal hole into that hole. Keep the holes 4 inches apart. If the wires are placed too close, the sensor will not perform properly. Clear the holes of debris and install the nail plates over each hole so the sheet rockers leave them accessible. It is recommended to run a pull string up to the electrical box to facilitate getting the wires up after the wall has been covered. In a remodel, you can remove the base channel and chisel out the sill plate enough to get the wires up into the wall cavity. In front of the cable hole, we will chisel out a 1/4 inch channel for the cold lead. Now we are ready to patch the seams of the plywood using Ardex TL patch. Mix 3 parts Ardex TL patch to 1 part water and mix it to a lump-free, creamy, smooth consistency. Ardex TL patch can be installed from skim coat, feather edge, up to 1 inch as needed. We want to seal off cracks between the wall and the floor so the leveler doesn't run into these open spaces. You can use tape, weather stripping, or caulk to seal these off. We will also dam up the heat vent and the doorway to keep the material from running into these areas. We'll prime the floor with Ardex P51 primer to make sure the liquid BackerBoard bonds properly. The primer is used full strength and applied with a soft bristled push broom. You don't want to use a paint roller, mops, or spray equipment with P51. You just work the primer in with an overlapping motion, making sure you don't leave any bare spots or puddles. Now we're ready to put down the cable. The King installation manual covers how to measure and select the proper kit. Make sure you've looked at that before you get to where we are today. We've already determined that we want the thermostat conveniently located by the vanity. The holes have been drilled and the nail plates installed for both the cold lead and the thermostat sensor wire, and we've chiseled out a 1/4 inch channel for the cold lead. Before we start laying cable, we need to test the cable with an ohm meter to verify that the values match what the factory has listed on the tag attached to the cold lead. We need to record this reading on the cable test log to keep the 20-year warranty provided by the manufacturer. There are 4 more tests we will need to make as the installation progresses. After the test, we're going to attach the cable monitor. The monitor will sound an alarm if we were to damage the cable during the installation process. Now that the monitor is hooked up, we can start laying the fast strap cable strapping. We want to run our cable in the most efficient way possible and allow for adjustments when we get to the end. The room is pretty square, but we can get more long runs of wire in this direction, so that's the direction we will go. The straps can be stapled, screwed, or nailed down on a plywood floor. We've cut 6-inch pieces to work around the angles. The straps are notched with equal marks and can easily be cut with tin snips. I've left a 6-inch space on the main wall. This is an area where no one will walk, so we don't need heat here. At the same time, we can bring cable back to this area if we have some cable left over at the very end. We can hot glue or tape the cold lead to the floor where it comes out of the wall and then start lacing the cable in the fast strapping. The beauty of the King heat system is you can actually put some tension on the wire so that it will lay flat without risking too tight of a bend at the ends, which could cause the wire to fail over time. You can see that the wire also has very little memory and lays flat, which really helps when we start using the liquid BackerBoard. If the end strap spacing is over 4 feet apart, you should use the intermediate straps supplied with the kit to ensure that the cable does lay flat. You do need to use all of the wire in the floor, maintaining space between the wire and without ever crossing wires. That's why we left the 6-inch space next to the wall. We can bring extra wire back here if we need to. All of the wire needs to be encased in the liquid BackerBoard. Now that the wire is placed, we can bring out the floor heat sensor that controls the thermostat. I've actually allowed for 2 sensors as a safety measure. If one sensor ever fails, we have a backup in place and won't have to remove the tiles for a repair. You can see that the sensor comes out 12 inches into the heated space, as suggested in the manual. With the cable secured and the sensors in place, it's time to do our second cable test and record it in the test log before we embed everything in the liquid BackerBoard. Now we are going to mix and apply the Ardex Liquid BackerBoard. Liquid BackerBoard sets up fast, so we want to get it mixed and spread as quickly as possible. I'll put my rubber cleated athletic shoes on now, so I'm ready to pour when we get it mixed. Rubber cleated shoes will keep me up out of the mix while we spread the material, so I don't leave any permanent marks. The amount of water is critical. Ardex makes getting this right easy. You use 1 bag of the material and fill the special bucket until water runs out the side. This is the perfect mix and the only way liquid BackerBoard should be mixed. The water needs to go in first and then the liquid BackerBoard. Then mix thoroughly to a lump-free consistency. This will take about 2 to 3 minutes, and don't add any more water as you mix. Now that the material is mixed, we will pour it out and spread it. We want to completely cover the cable with the liquid BackerBoard. Continue to mix and pour the material using an Ardex T4 spreader, which can be set to any desired thickness. Typically, you want the liquid BackerBoard to be between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick, although liquid BackerBoard can be poured as thick as 1.25 inches. Pull and place the material over the entire area, working from the closed end of the room to the doorway. Use the T5 spreader to work back and forth across the material with the head gliding across the top of the surface. Not only is this much easier than using BackerBoard and thin set, when we are finished, we have a flat, strong surface that is perfect for setting tile, and we can start setting tile in just 6 hours. Once all of the material is placed, it's time for the third cable test. Record the values in the test log before setting tiles. After the tile is set and grouted, do the final cable test to be sure everything is working. The homeowner or contractor should keep this log in the unlikely event a warranty claim needs to be filed. Finally, a qualified electrician should make the final electrical connections. It's better to wait 7 days before the heat is turned on. Heating up the mat before 7 days can cause cement products to dry too fast and will prevent it from curing to its optimum hardness. The full curing time for cement is about 30 days, and the longer it has to cure without heat, the better. The safest way to make sure heat is not turned on too quickly is to not make the final electrical connection until the time has passed.